I wanted to talk a bit about an experience that I had on retreat recently, and I'm having now back engaged in urban life. Several times on retreat, as I sat down for my meal, I get my food and I go sit down. And then this happened at Spirit Rock in the spring and at IMS in the fall. A wave of, I'm exhausted arose, or I'm so tired, or something like that. I just kind of noticed it, and sometimes I was curious, like, what were the thoughts that preceded that, or like what was going on right before? And I brought the question to my teacher, to Andrea Fella, and she encouraged me to notice what was actually happening in my body. And I came to see that I'm exhausted or I'm tired was a concept. It was a story. It was a notion. It was being layered on a direct experience. And Andrea's suggestion to just directly experience or knows what's happening in the body was an invitation to get underneath the concept or the story. I close my eyes to go back there for a moment and I just drop in underneath. And with that story, I'm exhausted or I'm so tired, or whatever the language was, as I dropped in, and I can feel it now as I recall it, as I bring it up into this heart, mind, body. It's just complete peace. It's expansive and there's ease and flow. It's not tired. It's just like the mind thought that was tired because it's what it knew, right? It's just like this mapping that was occurring. It's settled, it's grounded, it's deep, it's heavy, but it's expansive and spacious and warm. It's not tired. It's completely different. But that was how the mind recognized it and what it mapped it to. And now here I am out in life. And I've had a few of those moments, but more what I'm noticing is I'm scared. I settle into meditation, and this I've been practicing with for a very long time, but I settle into meditation, and then there's this like, oh, I'm scared, or I'm afraid, or, and these days, as I attune to that, I'm not scared, actually. I'm not afraid. There's just so much energy. I'm excited. I'm jazzed. I'm enthusiastic. And it doesn't feel that different from being terrified. It's a lot of vibrating, high frequency energy in the body. It's high, it's exuberant, it's speedy. It's like physically high in the body, like up, as opposed to that spaciousness, which I was mistaking for tired, which is grounded and settled and low in the body. But one isn't better than the other. And when we're scared, we're scared. And when we're exhausted, we're exhausted. And it's great to tend to that, whatever it is that's happening. But this experience just inspires me to want to offer the possibility of, we might say in local parlance, checking your assumptions, but like, okay, there's the thought of doubt, for example. There's the thought of fear, or there's the thought of exhaustion. And it's like, okay, and what is actually happening in the body right now? In the heart, in the chest, in the gut, in the legs, in the feet, in the hands, in the neck, in the shoulders. Like, oh, what does that feel like? Can I get curious about that or interested in that? Can I notice that? Because that's life. And my hope is that you and I, is that we practice to be present to life, to be engaged with life, to be attuned to life, to actually know what's going on inside us and around us, in addition to knowing our stories and thoughts about it, and to recognize that those are distinct things, that the mind and the body are different, although they're interrelated and connected. They inter-are, as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, they inter-be, but they're not the same. They influence one another continuously. The heart-mind influences the body, and the body influences the heart-mind. And we, as a being that is multifaceted, it can recognize this, it can know this. And that's wisdom. And we practice awareness, we cultivate awareness, and as we keep, as Tuere Sala would say, as we keep stacking the books, as we keep cultivating awareness, presence, we're resting into the here and now, or returning to the here and now, remembering that remembering and returning can be translations of sati, satipatthana, Ana-pana-sati, right? This Pali word. It's like, it doesn't just mean mindfulness, which is the word we tend to use for it. It doesn't convey the full meaning of sati. But as we practice to remember, to rest, to receive, to open to the here and now, to cultivate awareness, presence, translations for sati, as we practice that awareness, wisdom naturally emerges. Panya, pranya, prajna, however you want to offer that, whatever language, Sanskrit, Pali, whatever you're going to go back to, that we can translate as wisdom or understanding, that naturally springs forth, it naturally emerges as we tend to cultivating awareness. We can't do this part. We can't like make an insight happen. But when we get interested and curious and we observe what's actually happening in the heart mind, in the body, wisdom emerges. It's inevitable. We just keep going. As Bhikkhu Bodhi is quoted as saying, there are only two things that are necessary to realizing the full fruits of practice. One is to begin, the other is to keep going. So may you continue, may you carry on.